started as a joke. That's what I kept telling myself. Even when I saw him standing outside my door, his hand raised, ready to knock. It was as if fate was playing a game with me, one where I was the reluctant player, trying to dodge the inevitable his presence. I'm Michael, a quiet, reserved nurse at St. George's Hospital, where I'd spent most of my life running away from emotions. They said I was too focused on work, but it wasn't like I had a choice. Work kept me busy, and when I wasn't at work, I was trying to ignore the parts of me I didn't quite understand. There was one person who was the exception: Aaron Thompson, the hospital's newest, and in my opinion, the most frustrating resident doctor. He was charming in a way that made me want to punch him and kiss him at the same time. His smile was too bright, his confidence borderline cocky, and his laugh, his laugh. It made my heart stutter in a way I refused to acknowledge. We were colleagues, nothing more. At least, that's what I told myself every single day. I tried to avoid him, even when his eyes found me in the hallway. He was too perfect. I couldn't understand why he kept coming around. Why every night, without fail, he would knock on my door. It started innocently enough, just casual conversations in the break room, exchanging small jokes, talking about work. But then, something shifted. He began lingering a little longer, his gaze a little heavier, like he was looking for something I didn't know how to give. My heart raced every time he stood too close, and the only thing I could think of was how much I wanted him to stay. But I couldn't let myself want him. I had rules. Boundarish was my colleague, and I wasn't the kind of guy who mixed work with. Whatever this was. That night, like so many others, I was in my room, finishing up the last of my charts. It was late, well past midnight. I thought I'd finally be alone with my thoughts. But then came the knock. Soft, hesitant, like he wasn't sure if I would answer. I hesitated. My heart beat louder than my thoughts, and despite everything that told me I should ignore him, I stood up and walked to the door. I opened it to find him standing there, eyes wide, as if he had been waiting for me to make the first move. He always had that look, like he knew something I didn't, like he had all the answers. "Michael," he said, his voice low and almost too soft. I wanted to check on you. You looked off today." I swallowed hard, trying to find the right words, but they escaped me. It was his kindness that got to me, the way he was always looking out for me, even when I didn't ask. It made me wonder what would happen if I didn't shut him out. What if? But then the walls in my head came up again. "I'm fine, Aaron," I said, trying to push past him and close the door, but he stepped forward, blocking it with his foot. His eyes bore into mine, a silent plea. "Are you really fine?" His voice was barely a whisper, and in that moment, I knew I couldn't lie to him anymore. The distance between us, both physical and emotional, had been shrinking for weeks, and tonight, it felt like the last straw. "Aaron, don't," before I could stop myself. He reached out, grabbing my arm, his touch warm and steady. "Michael, just let me in. I won't force anything, but I can't stand seeing you pretend anymore." Couldn't breathe. His words hit harder than any medical emergency I had ever faced. He wasn't asking for permission. He was offering me something. Something raw, something vulnerable. It was a feeling I'd never experienced before. My heart beat wildly as I let him in, literally and metaphorically. He stepped across the threshold, his presence filling the space between us. He didn't move closer at first. He stood there, waiting for me to make the next move. "What do you want from me, Aaron?" I finally asked, my voice betraying the fear I was trying so hard to suppress. He looked at me for a long moment, as if searching for the right words. "I want to be with you, Michael. I don't know what this is, but I can't keep pretending like I don't feel this pull between us." I opened my mouth to say something, but the words got caught in my throat. I wanted to push him away, tell him this wasn't real, that we couldn't be like this. But as he stepped closer, the air between us thick with unspoken feelings, I realized that I wasn't ready to push him away, not anymore. His hand found my cheek, gently cupping it. His thumb brushed over my skin, sending a shiver down my spine. It was a touch so simple, so intimate, but it felt like everything I had been avoiding was crashing down all at once. "Please," he whispered. "Let me in." And before I could stop myself, I closed the gap between us. His lips met mine, soft and tentative at first, as if he was giving me a chance to pull away. But I couldn't. The kiss deepened, both of us letting go of everything we had tried to control. His arms wrapped around me, pulling me closer, and for the first time in weeks, I felt something I hadn't allowed myself to feel: desire. A desire that burned hotter than anything I had ever known. It wasn't just physical. It was more than that. It was connection. It was understanding. It was the kind of love that scared the hell out of me but also made me feel like I was finally home. I pulled back for a moment, breathless, my heart racing. He looked at me, his eyes filled with something I couldn't name, something real, something deep. "Are you sure about this?" I asked, needing to hear him say it, needing to make sure that what we were doing wasn't just a fleeting moment. He smiled, the warmth in his gaze melting away the last of my doubts. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life, Michael." And in that moment, I realized that maybe, just maybe, this was the start of something neither of us could walk away from. The days that followed were a blur of emotions, each moment feeling more surreal than the last. Our connection, once hidden behind closed doors, was now something tangible, something that we no longer needed to keep secret. We still worked together at the hospital, side by side, but the space between us had shifted. No longer were we just colleagues, passing each other in the halls with polite smiles. Now, we were something more, something unspoken but undeniable. I didn't know what to do with myself. The mornings were easier. We were professionals, doing our jobs, the routine of the hospital offering me the comfort of familiarity. But the evenings were a different story. Every time the clock struck midnight, and I was alone in my room, I would wait for the familiar knock. It wasn't long before it became a nightly ritual. His knock, soft but persistent, was the sound I had come to anticipate with both excitement and a nervous flutter in my chest. I would open the door, finding him standing there, a quiet intensity in his gaze. Without a word, he would step inside, and we would be consumed by the same unspoken understanding. But there were moments when the weight of our situation pressed down on me, and I couldn't help but question everything. What were we doing? Was this just a passing fling? A temporary escape from the pressures of our careers? Or was it something real? Something lasting? One night I couldn't take it anymore. I had to ask, even if I was afraid of the answer. "Aaron," I began, my voice trembling. He had just walked in, his usual smile lingering, but there was something in my tone that made him pause. He turned to face me, concern flashing in his eyes. "What's wrong?" he asked, stepping toward me. I swallowed hard, gathering my thoughts before speaking. "What are we doing, Aaron? Is this real? Or are we just, I don't know, trying to escape something?" He was quiet for a moment, his gaze searching mine, and for a second, I felt the vulnerability between us like an open wound. I wasn't ready for the rawness of this conversation, but I couldn't keep pretending it didn't matter. Aaron reached for my hand, his grip gentle but firm. "I'm not running away from anything, Michael," he said softly. "I'm here because I want to be here. I've never been more certain about anything in my life. I want you, and I'm not going anywhere." His words, simple and sincere, calmed the storm in my chest. But even as I wanted to believe him, doubt lingered. We were both young, both in careers that demanded everything from us. What if this was just a fleeting moment? What if it all came crashing down? I shook my head, trying to push the thoughts aside. But what if this is too much? What if? He cut me off, his hand cupping my cheek as he stepped closer. "Michael," he said softly, his voice full of quiet conviction. "We'll figure it out. Together." And with that, the world seemed to shrink down to just the two of us. All the doubts, all the fears, seemed to fade into the background as his lips brushed against mine again, slow and tender. For once, the weight of the world didn't feel so heavy. The next few weeks were filled with a kind of quiet happiness I hadn't expected. We found a rhythm, a balance between the chaos of our work and the tenderness of our private moments. The hospital became the backdrop to our love, the late-night knocks on my door becoming a comfort rather than a question. Aaron was there, every step of the way showing me what it meant to truly be seen, truly be wanted. But of course, nothing was ever as easy as it seemed. One evening, as I was finishing up my shift, I noticed Aaron wasn't in his usual spot. The hallway was eerily quiet, and I felt a knot form in my stomach. I found him in the break room, pacing, his face clouded with worry. Something was off. "Aaron?" I asked, stepping inside. He turned to face me, and for the first time, I saw the uncertainty in his eyes. "Michael, there's something I need to tell you," he said, his voice tight. I took a step closer, my heart racing. "What is it? Is everything okay?" He ran a hand through his hair, his gaze dropping to the floor. I've been offered a position in another hospital. It's a big opportunity, but it would mean leaving here. Leaving us. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I froze, the reality of the situation settling in. "So what? You're leaving?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. He stepped closer, reaching for my hand, but I pulled back, afraid to let him touch me in that moment. "I don't want to leave you," he said urgently, "but it's a huge opportunity for my career. I've worked so hard for this." I could feel the tightness in my chest, the fear threatening to consume me. I had been afraid of this, the idea that something this perfect could slip through my fingers. But I also knew I couldn't hold him back. I couldn't ask him to stay if it meant giving up something important to him. I understand," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "You have to do what's best for you." He looked at me, his eyes filled with a kind of pain I had never seen before. "Michael, I don't want to lose you. I love you." The words hung in the air between us, heavy with meaning. I closed the distance between us, this time not pushing him away. I reached for his hand, holding it tightly. "I love you too," I said, my voice shaky but certain. "And no matter what happens, we'll figure it out." In that moment, I knew that love, no matter the obstacles, would always find a way. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.